Well, hey everybody, how are you tonight? I thought we would do a mining stream. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Do a little pre-flight here on the Prospector. Take a look. I have the Rush drive on and a couple of brands and an FLTRXL. That's what I normally run with. I know it's not crazy. And so, yeah, we'll go ahead and pull the Prospector and get started tonight and see if we can't have a little fun. Alright, pad 4. There's a lot of people around ArcL 1. I haven't been looking at the chat, so I'm not sure what's going on, so it'll be interesting. Don't normally have to launch off of pad 4, but any of them will do. It was a nice day today. Probably in the upper 30s, I think. Not too cold. And, yeah. I will let you use that elevator. We'll grab a different one. But yeah, there's a lot of people on ArcL 1 tonight. I'm not entirely sure why, and kind of fun. Maybe I'll look at the chat and see. Oh, my stars. There's some salty language on there. We'll slide right past all that. Go to pad 4 and head for the Prospector. Hey, good evening. How are you, Morvip? What's happening? Sipping a little coffee tonight. How about you? All right. One of the things that people have been mentioning, quite honestly, is that there are some missing bags on the left side of the, or the starboard side of the, and there certainly are. You can see it spawning there. Somebody mentioned it today, and I thought, I'll look when I spawn mine, and I think I looked at the last time too, and they weren't there. So, kind of an interesting situation. It's not affecting the way that the ship operates at all. It's just a graphical glitch. Hey, driving home from work. All right. So into the Prospector we go. The routine is pretty well worn at this point. We're going to head over to Lyria for the first run at least and see how things go. There's been a lot of big rocks on Lyria lately. A lot of ones that are over 6,000, that type of thing, which is just fine. But you're not always kitted out to get those ones. I've been blessed lately. I've had a lot of miners around to help out in those situations, though. So pulled in a couple nice unis here in the last couple days, and a couple of those have been on some oversized rocks, that's for sure. Oh, my star! Was your it's not a 10-hour drive home from work, is it? Or is it a was it a 10-hour day today? Awesome. Off we go. So the wife and the son snuck into town and left me to do my own devices, so I thought, I'm going to sneak on and see if I can't mine a little Quantanium. And so, that's what we're going to do. Poured myself a big old cup of coffee and get a couple of sips of that in the quantum while we're quantuming over to Hardcore. Oh, 10-hour drive. Yikes. That's a solid drive. That's a long haul. Alright, we're just going to come out of Quantum here at ArcCorp, and we'll turn to the port side a little bit and head over towards Lyria. See if we can't get the night started over that way. And off we go. Alright, as we're approaching Lyria here, I'll pivot a bit, try and find a place in the sun that's not too far. Like Loveridge would be fine right there. I think that's probably exactly where we will head. 203.4 away and easy in. So more of is asking if we're mining tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night for sure. Definitely mining's happening. It's scheduled, and I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Dasman, how's it going? He's like, Daz is saying he's on Lyria mining right now. Nice to hear that, Daz. It's good to see you. How you been? All right. Just kind of switching over to mouse and keyboard here, and we'll lose some of this altitude, get about maybe between around 1,500 or so off the deck, and start looking around to see if we can't find something to mine. Good, Daz. I know we definitely got to catch up and do some mining here sometime soon. I know a lot of times, I know that you pinged me on Saturday night or whatever, and I'm always busy with the big org event sometimes Saturday night. So I missed you on that Saturday, and I've been looking to try and catch up with you. So I know that we'll definitely get a chance to do that. I enjoyed mining with you the one night, and I'm sure we'll find some other opportunities here in the near future. That's for sure. Cool. All right, so. Looks like nice land around Loveridge here. We'll keep looking around. And Morvip is asking Daz how you doing? It looks like Daz is saying one of his consumables just ran out the optimum. It's always tough when you lose that window. Still got a surge, but not as much optimum. So well, you got to be with those surges, you just got to put them right in the sweet spot, and hopefully you can hang on there. So we'll kind of pivot on towards the sun now. I definitely like to keep the sun kind of, about where it is there, and kind of keep your nose out pointing towards the sun so you kind of have a general direction. If you don't do that, sometimes in kind of all the blue hues and grayish hues of Lyria, you can kind of get turned around and wind back up, driving back up on something you've already scanned, and go in a big circle. I've done that a few times. So I am doing a little bit of active pinging as we go, just trying to see if we can find something to drive over and check out. We're really getting close to 317 now. I think that's probably sometime in the next week or two is going to hit Evocati, and that's going to be kind of interesting to see how the refueling's going to start fleshing out, the mining gadgets are going to start fleshing out, and even if they get the selling in where you can sell the stuff, you know, even just the initial being able to clear your inventory and make a few space bucks doing that, could really be fairly profound to have that, you know, to have that happen. So there's a single there. We'll keep on moving. And a single there. You know, just the idea of being able to, it's just a cool thing to be able to, if you happen to loot a couple of guns or some things, being able to be able to sell those is going to be a real good thing. And then obviously the thing that I'm most excited about, as you probably know, no spoiler alert, are the mining gadgets, and how are those going to kind of stack up against? I really do hope that they're a little stronger than, say, the mining consumables. The mining consumables certainly have a the mining consumables are definitely, you know, somewhat powerful, and those are the ones that have the charges. The passive modules are, they don't quite do as, they're not quite as strong as I'd tweak some of them a little bit more. So Mauricio is asking a great question, and hey Mauricio, not a name I recognize on the stream. Welcome aboard. And you're asking a question I get asked a lot, which is, how can I set the icon yellow? You know, and that is, I'm using the Arrow Gray Cat armor set, Mauricio, and it's the Hazard Yellow Arrow Gray Cat armor, and that's what makes the icons yellow. And in order to do that, though, when you do buy that set, you do have to put the helmet on, log off back to menus, and then log back on in order for it to get the yellow icons to take effect. So that's another little tip for you. Mauricio, if you check my channel, I have a video that's called Yellow Icons that talks about exactly where you can buy the suits. It's not a long video. It won't take a ton of your time. It's right on my channel. It's called Yellow Icons, and you can check that out. And it's it definitely speaks directly to your question. Rather be traveling. How are you? Nice to see you. How you been? It's evening here. That's a decent sized rock right there. And this is what I've been seeing a lot of these, right? This is a 6338 at 38%. This would easily be a unicorn. It's going to be outside of my kit in order to crack that thing. So I'm going to have to drive away from that one. And that would be one that 4, with his surge, could definitely take a crack at. So, yeah, Mauricio, thanks for that. Daswin is saying, I used 2 surges on a 6100 mass on Walla last night. Quantanium was 35%. I overcharged it a bit and blew up my prospector, but was not destroyed. That's good. I'm glad that you weren't destroyed. You know, dealing with the surges can definitely there definitely can be some repercussions if the surges get away. Rather Be Traveling says, do you find any effectiveness of changing the radar ping radius? You are pinging 360. I switched to 180. You know, it's a good question. I guess I don't necessarily know that I find a great deal of difference in that. I do seem to think that there is a difference when I'm looking for ROC nodes, but the rock nodes not so much. Rather Be, but you know what? I'll switch to 180 and we'll just kind of see if it is actually a little different. You know, I definitely understand what you're saying, and you used to focus that quite a bit. It would definitely help, with range and that type of thing. Oh, Daz is offering to help. I drove away from that one, Daz, already, so, I definitely appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate it for sure, but, yeah, I already flew off on that one. Look at that. Look at, there's a 48. Look, it's so strange. 48 away is, is something on the active ping. Maybe a ship, I wonder. That is a long ways out there. Alrighty. I think Ratherby was crying because I had to drive away from that uni. That's 6,300 at 35%. That's a good rock. I mean, that's, 350 at 6, so 357 twice, so 14. Yeah, that's 28 SE right there, and then another. Yeah, that's there's a lot of SCU. There was a lot of SCU in that guy, but that's okay. Oh, Mauricio says he prefers 180 as well. Oh, Morvip, thank you much. It looks like Morvip has taken the time to post the yellow icon video link. I really appreciate that. That's really cool, and that will help. And we get asked that question a lot about the yellow icons. I do think, as a matter of fact, somebody was saying they were colorblind, and it made a huge difference in their, in that capacity. It wasn't just the fact that it's really nice contrast. Is the blues were kind of, were kind of melting into the grayish bluish hues of Lyria. So, obviously that's a nice thing when somebody mentions, hey, this has really helped out my gaming experience. So. All right, we're still looking around here. Andreas, how are you? Nice to see you this evening. Ooh, hey, there's some doublers. We'll go check them out, see if we get lucky. Hey, what's going on over there? It almost looks, I don't see anybody on my radar. That almost looked like it was, clearly that was missile, I don't know. Mauricio saying that the HUD is very bright, so the yellow helps as well. I can absolutely understand that. That makes sense to me. And, yeah, I really do. Alright, so we're keeping an eye on our radar here. There's definitely a lot of people around tonight. 4702 at 8. And what do we have here? This looks like a 3.22%. So we'll keep on moving. And like I said, you're going to see me kind of keep the sun kind of at my 12 o'clock position and keep heading in that direction. It just makes it so you don't circle around and end up scanning the same rocks again. I will mention, because I see a couple new faces, if you like the channel, like and sub, or at least give a thumbs up. It does help, and lots of people come and ask questions about mining, and I've been meaning to say that a little bit more in my streams. So yeah, if you enjoy it, do that. It just kind of makes it so other people who mine, might also get a chance to, as the way the algorithms work, is other people who mine may get a chance to come and look and enjoy it as well. So, believe it or not, I know it's a small ask, but those likes really do help, and I've definitely started to notice some new faces starting to come along, and it's great. I just love it. Love talking, chatting Star Citizen, Theorycraft, and all things Star Citizen, and especially mining. So. Andreas is saying, I'd love to have the red orange icon armor. Yeah, that's awesome. Imagine how much money they could make by selling different HUD colors like paint jobs. Oh my stars! Don't give them any more ideas, Andreas. That's for sure. But you're absolutely right. Some custom HUD colors would be all right. All right, what do we got here? So this isn't a bad rock. This is a 30-30. Don't have Sig any more money. Don't give Sig any more money. I'm making ideas, please. That's what Ratherby says. I don't disagree with that, Rather. That's awesome. So I'm going to do the math on this one. I'm going to pull out QuantCalc, and we'll take a look at this guy. And let's see. I got QuantCalc out. This is a 3129, and this is a 32.5. So Oops, 32.5. Let me calculate that rock. That looks like it's going to be about 20 SCU. So, not great, but, you know, a little above, you know, I have that rule of thumb that, you know, if you have a mining stream and you find over more than 20 SCU, you might as well mine it. So, not a bad idea. You know, yeah, I mean, obviously the business model is Andre's saying, not the biggest fan of their business model, but I pay. I do too. You know, the one thing I will say is it's give or take, right? I mean, obviously if you have a publisher and deadlines and those types of things, you may not have ever even got as far along as they are, you know, so there's definitely some... a lot of people I know would like to see more control over certain things, and I can respect why that is, and certainly I think that they could do, you know, a more effective job at communicating, but I'm not sure we'd get the same game if they had like kind of the traditional business model. They might have put something out 4 or 5 years ago that wasn't nearly as good as it potentially could be. That's for sure. All right, so this isn't going to be a tough break at all. Not at all. Oh, I took my eye off the ball, was kind of looking at Mauricio's chat there, and I just didn't see it. Yeah. All right, we'll settle in here and get this guy broken, then I'll look at the chat. .69 instability, not terrible. She's trying to fall out. I feathered up. Oh, she fell out there again. I'll feather up. Good. Not the biggest mass rock for sure. Good break. So Mauricio says, yeah, when the calcs are tight, you have to rely on a good break. This is true. And if we don't get a halfway decent break here, then it's one of those things. This looks good. There's 100%er, so that's a good sign, right off the bat. This is not going to have anything in it, which is fine. Here it looks like this is another maybe 100%er or high percentage, 76. Yep, and that's good. What do we have here? There's going to be nothing in that one. Good. Some of this is impacted into the ground, so we'll have to take that into consideration. But there's nothing in that one. It looks like this is our last piece that's going to have something in it. And this is going to be another 100%er. So this broke pretty clean, quite honestly. Now these are low, these are low mass. They're not huge, so you obviously have to be real careful when you start kind of putting in charge. And I will go right off the bat with this being a 2.5 instability. I'll go right off the bat at a Brant. That Brant will flatten out that instability, bring it right down to like a 0.62, and it will make it this kind of real easy to deal with. Now, you're certainly not going to be using high percentages of laser intensity with the 378 mass. So, Ratherby says, do you use the mouse wheel? Yes, I do use the mouse wheel. I fly with 2 joysticks and have one as throttle as laser power. My VKB Gladiators have a couple of buttons that I think would work, but I got so used to using the mouse and keyboard mining early before I had the sticks that I just go back to the sticks for the mining part of it, and it really does feel comfortable. I like the hybrid model. So, and then this guy. Alright, what do we have left here? Alright, we want to fall off pretty quick. I wanted to get in fairly quickly. And that looks like we did a pretty good job. Try and get as much of that, use the Brant to get as much of the second break as possible. A little mini game I play with myself, I suppose. You can say we're holding the ground pretty good. Looks like 5% is really kind of where all the magic is on this particular break. good break there. Yep, no problem. And then we have this other 100%er here. And I don't think that there was another, you know, there was just that. There is that one impact. There is one guy down in there. Oh, that ended up being a purple. So that's okay. Interesting. Yeah, there's a purple down there. And I don't think there's any more. I think there's just this one last guy to break here, and then we'll scoop. Andre says, my mouse wheel had a weird day when it comes to laser intensity, which messes up my brakes more often than not. Yeah, and the different lasers actually have different reaction times. Like the Helix is a little, like it doesn't respond as, like there's actually some mechanics inside with the mouse wheel, like how quickly it will rise or fall based on, you know, your articulation. So it's a little bit interesting in that capacity. You know, some of them don't respond as, you know, as much as the other ones do. I fell off the 3% there, so we're okay. I haven't fired a Brant, and that's kind of probably silly on my part. It fell out. I think I'll just go ahead and fire a Brant, and we won't waste our time here. Got to be more efficient. I mean, you know, the Brants just cost so little. You just got to go ahead and lean on them, and then, you know, you don't have to work nearly as hard. I'll take that down to a 5%. It looks like it's going to hold just fine there. Mauricio says, this Monday I'll get my 32 gig of mem. Hey, Mauricio, one of the things I will say is, outside of the SSD drive, which the SSD drive is one of the most important things that you can do. The thing that smoothed out the game for me the most, I truly believe, is going to 32 gig of RAM. And if you look, Star Citizen is using somewhere in the 20s. So you don't get headroom on 16, you know. You do get headroom on 32. And little things like opening up the star map and having it just, you know, be like open right up and work, and little things like that. When I went to 32 gig of RAM, the game just smoothed out way more for me. So I definitely think that there's some upside with going with the 32 gig of RAM, for sure. Well, I'm going to start extracting here, and we'll see how we get. There's only a potential of, you know, of 20 SCU here, or around that, if we're lucky. So we'll go ahead and be somewhat discerning here. This first rock we'll get, then we'll kind of pick off the top. And then what we will do is you know, we're going to get into that 74%er, and we'll see. So we'll just kind of pick and choose here and see how we do. There's another hundo. Excellent. Okay, and let's just kind of grab these guys up here. So we know these are hundos as well. We'll let them finish the scan. We have plenty of time. Rather be, so speaking of computer spec, what video card are you using? I have a 3070. So my system is a 3900X, which is you know, a nice processor. Certainly not the fastest processor, but it is you know, lots of threads and cores. And I do have a 3070, and I run the game natively at 1440p. I do not stream, obviously, at 1440p myself, and you know, some people do, some people don't. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, you can see that's not a purple outline, but that was a scoopable rock. No problem. That ended up being okay. Now, not all this is Quantanium in this last one. Some of it wasn't, but we'll just kind of see how it goes. Yeah, so 3900X, 3070, 32 gig of RAM, an M.2 drive, and then I think I have a 970, a Sony 970 Evo. I know I don't think I bought the 980 Pro. I think I went with the 970, and then, yeah, it's that guy. Oh, that's broke pretty clean. I bet you the rest of this guy's going to be Quantanium as well. That's probably 100%. Yeah, this, I'll tell you what, for there being just right around, and there was just right around 20 SCU in this thing, we got it all. This big rock down here didn't have anything in it, and the rest of this didn't. So it calculated out at around 20%, and that's what we ended up with. So I will pull this on board. There's not much in it, I don't think. Nope. But we will go head out. I mean, that's a quick 20 SEU. We're not going to sneeze at it. That's a good start. Switch back to sticks here. Kind of spool up the quantum, and off to arc L1 we go. Notice the last couple days, occasionally I've had to re-spool a couple of times, kind of old school. There we go. So good question on my FPS. I guess I think it's our tab 4. Let's look. So yeah, I just learned that, by the way. When you kind of when you hit the tilde, you can just hit R and then tab, and it fills in the rest of the stuff for you. So it's kind of nice. You can see my FPS right now in Quantum is around 45, which isn't fantastic, but you know, nothing. You know, Quantum is always a little bit different. Pushing up to 46. I only notice how low my Mauricio is saying. I only notice how low my FPS are when I see others with better hardware. If I don't compare, I don't feel as low FPS, but the load times and smoothness I can feel sometimes. Once again, yeah, the Mauricio, going to the 32 gig of RAM is really where I noticed a huge smoothing of a lot of things in the game, for sure. So we'll kind of see what the FPS is when we get on Arc L1, and take a look there. Yeah. Just checking out the stream stats. Everything looks pretty good there. I think we're doing okay. Mauricio says he notices the lag at the start of Quant. Yeah, I definitely notice it there too, where you kind of have that first little chug through, and then all of a sudden it will pull through and off it goes. But even some of that stuff I've noticed, you know, smoothed out a little more. There we go. So rather be saying, you know, he feels his weak point is a 2080 Ti, that's still a fairly good graphics card. You know, obviously, I do think right now, with the current state of Star Citizen, the game is far more CPU locked than GPU locked. Meaning, like, if you have a good CPU, I think, you know, obviously you have to have a good GPU, don't get me wrong. But I think if you have a 2080 Ti, that's still a respectable card. Even a 1070 is a respectable card. And as they begin offloading more stuff onto the CPU cores, I think that will even be better. But I am really excited about the next generation of cards that are coming out. It looks like they're kind of, AMD is going with the Infinity Cache, and it looks like NVIDIA, to offset that Infinity Cache, is putting a ton of L2 cache on their cards. I was more CPU bound than GPU bound, even when I had a 1070. That's for sure. Alright, so we called for a pad. We haven't had one assigned to us yet. Sometimes I have to cancel. Once in a while I have to cancel and re-ask. And part of it is I'm impatient too, right?
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
With the Quantanium on board in particular, so. Alright, well, I don't see where my landing bay is. Oh, I do see it over there. Okay, no problem. We haven't heard first alarm yet, so we're just fine. Off we go. Bring her in nice and smooth. First alarm probably will start going off here any moment. We're getting close. But maybe not. Alright, down we go. Oh, guess what I didn't do? I didn't put the gear down. Now that's a part of that is like it didn't. I usually have this like mental trigger that as soon as they give me a pad, then I definitely pop the gear down. That time there was that bit of delay, and I just kind of got a little sidetracked by the fact that it wasn't exactly where I was expecting to land. So I forgot to put the gear down, and didn't cost me anything. I touched the belly down soft and pop back up, put her down, and don't panic. That's one of the most important things is, just take your time. You'll be all right. So, Skim, welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize. Appreciate you showing up and chatting. I am using the Lancet. It's the Lancet MH1, I believe it's called. And as far as the modules that I'm using, Skim, good question. I'm using an FLTRXL and 2 Brants. That's the vanilla loadout that I generally go with when I go Quantanium mining. Of course, the Lancet will, it's a negative 75% instability, negative 75% resistant. The Brant also kind of stacks on top of that, so you can really make Quantanium far less, you can really bring the instability down to a much more manageable level. That being said, I don't have a surge or the optimums where I can get the bigger rocks. So if something's above 5,800 mass, and I do a lot of Lyria mining, it's the ones you have to drive away from unless you have a friend come help. So good question, Skim. Love the questions. Keep, absolutely keep asking. Like answering questions like that. And we also have, obviously, if you're kind of new to the channel, there's a real good community here of people that will offer all sorts of other suggestions. Those are just mine, and I'm not saying they're the best. I'm just saying that they're the ones that work for me. Rather be traveling saying, if you didn't know, if you auto land, you can refuel and repair while you're landing. Oh yeah, I've never done the auto landing. Wasn't working when I first got into the game that well, and so I never did really get into that. So yeah, it looks like my FPS tonight is right around 40. Not fantastic, not terrible. I guess I am streaming at the same time, so maybe I don't know if that affects it at all. I'm sure it will get a little better here in the old, get a little better here, and yeah, it'll go up in the elevator a little bit. That being said, I'll just kind of this guy, and I'll just go back to 0, and we'll turn that off and call her good. So I definitely should try the auto landing and look into that a little bit. I've got a mental list of a few things I want to look into. Auto landing would be one of them. Like learning jettison and some of the jettison stuff, I definitely want to spend some time with as well. Like exactly how jettison works. I've never really done it before. So, I don't know if you have to, somebody was saying first alarm has to go off, that type of thing. So, yeah, anyways, Skim says, cool. I didn't play for a long time and didn't remember the stuff. You know what, Skim? That's exactly right. There's lots of folks that, and I can really appreciate it. Star Citizen's the kind of game you're probably going to come and go. Check in on it, see how it's going. But, mining has been a pretty consistent loop now for a little over a year. Real good, easy way to make money, a chill way to make money, and certainly something that I just love mining in Star Citizen. It literally is just one of those things where I just can't seem to get enough of it. I just enjoy doing it so much. So, all right, well, we'll just kind of confirm that. Looks like I've got some work orders complete here, 60, 81 in the hopper there. And then I've got another 20, a 30, and an 18. So I definitely have some done, some cooking, and off we go with that. More of it saying, auto land sometimes glitches you through the landing pad and ends your day. Yeah, that's been, auto land to me, I haven't messed with it too much, and I've heard people say that they have different experiences with it. And it's the same thing as bed logging. I've never bed logged once. But I know people that say, hey, I bed logged on Lyria. I logged back in and I was in a Quantanium field. So I definitely can, definitely all of us have our different experiences, things we do and that type of thing. Mauricio says, does Veto mode have an effect or is it cosmetic right now? No, it has an effect. It absolutely stabilizes the ship. I mean, I will say, and as far as thrust goes, it does feel, especially the mole, feels a touch more stable in wind with VTOL. you know, I don't know it has a crazy effect, though, Mauricio. I mean, that's for sure. I don't know that it's, you know, you can't go one way or the other without it. Andrea says, Jettison just throws all your cargo out, nothing special to it. Lash buzzer to say if you're not going to make it in time. Yeah, I should definitely learn that, though, so, you know, just in case I ever do need to do it at all. Look at this. You can see this looking out here. Does it go black? Whenever, in Star Citizen, folks, if you ever are looking at the elevator and it looks starry and black, yeah, don't go in there. That's bad. So I'll call this guy, and then I'll let it kind of... And then that's okay to go into. Even though it was just starry and black, that's okay to go into. But see how it's black there? You know, you don't go in the blackness. You have to wait. And we'll see if I get pinned in here. I don't think I will, but it's, you know... The public's PSA, if it looks starry in the elevator, yeah, don't go in there. Morvip says, I enjoy manual landing. I do too. I definitely enjoy that. So, a couple of things I want to mention to you guys. You know, some new faces. There's a really cool app that we have in... they have in the description. It's called QuantCalc. It's a $1 app, and it's a super fast way for you to get a calculation for how much SCU of Quantanium is in a rock. So you punch in a mass, you punch in a percentage, and it will tell you how much Quantanium is in there. You can then add a second rock, a third rock, and at the bottom it will sum up all the different amounts of Quantanium that you have. It's a cool app, and it's only $1, and it's an early release, so I would recommend you give it a try, but you always can jump on the stream. Give us some feedback. You know, somebody the other day came on and said, QuantCalc is great. It would be really cool if it had a timer. So the minute that I'm ready to begin extracting, I could click the timer and just kind of let it also have a timer on there for me. That's in the works. You know, that's how it works. You know, is if you review. If you review QuantCalc and you like it, you paid your $1, and you give a suggestion, we're going to do it. And Murlork is saying, absolutely right, Murlork. It's not available. It's nice. By the way, Murlork, it's nice to see you. How are you doing? It's not available on iOS yet. It will be. It's a good point. We're absolutely doing it in iOS. We're in the process of kind of dealing with the Xcode part of it for iOS stuff. And of course the guy who's doing it is just doing it out of the kindness of his heart. It's not his job. So, a real great guy, a real sharp guy too. But, which is one of those things we're kind of muddling through but it will absolutely be available for iOS as well. All right, back out we go. We've put our first 20 SCU. I guess probably, I bet you, I didn't look that closely, but it was probably around 18 SCU by the time you paid your taxes on the refining job. I'm heading back out to the prospector, and we will head back over to Lyria one more time and see if we can't get lucky. In we go. Skim saying, do you have an upgrade on your prospector? Remember, if you upgrade your power unit, you have more power on mining or something like this. Some of that stuff isn't working the way that it used to, Skim. You can't, right now, at least I haven't been able to figure out how to overclock or do those types of things. You do choose the different mining laser heads, and they do have quite a bit of difference in them. But I don't know about whether or not, like, increasing the power unit means your laser has more power. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but somebody may say that I'm wrong in the chat, and I would be okay with it if I am, and I'd promptly go upgrade my stuff. That's for sure. Andreas is saying, if you bed log on moons and spawn with your ship below ground, you can get up easy. Just click to the camera through the floor and fly to a place that doesn't have a large rock. Then gently fly up. You touch the floor. Give full thrust, you should be able to be alive and above ground again. Oh, interesting. So it sounds to me like maybe there are times when you bed log, when you log back in, you're below the planet's surface. And it sounds like Andreas is giving a little bit of a tip on how to kind of get yourself out of that jam. You can get up easy. just clip the camera through the floor and fly to a place that doesn't have a large rock. Okay, so you kind of use the camera, clip it out, and then kind of fly up, then gently fly up. When you touch the floor, just give a little up thrust, and you should be alive and above ground again. That's a good tip, Andreas, really. If you really kind of read what Andreas is saying there, if you happen to bed log and you wind up below the planet surface, it sounds like there's some options there. Skim says, okay, maybe I misunderstand something. The last time I played was 6 months ago. No problem, Skim, honestly. It's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, we love chatting all things Star Citizen mining here. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the game is getting better and better. I do think Star Citizen, behind the scenes, one of the most important things is we don't 30K nearly as much. The game's a lot more stable. It's in a lot better place. When I started a year ago, a week before Thanksgiving, so 1 week before this last Thanksgiving was my 1 year anniversary, and now I've played this much. It's a lot. The game's a lot better. It didn't have refineries then. It didn't have all sorts of the stuff that we have now. So there has been a lot of improvements in Star Citizen that kind of go unsung a little bit. But one of the most important ones, I think, is the server stability. That has been a blessing in disguise for sure. Murlorg says the only thing I've done in my prospector is that I removed the distortion weapons completely. I don't know if that makes it more or less powerful. I definitely think it probably reduces your signature, which it may or may not help. I've definitely had a prospector. I've had a prospector before where I've kind of taken off the guns and didn't really worry about it. One thing's for sure: if you find yourself if you've got distortion on a prospector and find yourself in a gunfight, you're doing it wrong. You're probably doing it wrong. So, Andrea says, had to do that a few times, that bed logging trick. Rockeye, how you doing tonight? Rockeye saying he got stuck below the surface as well. Marichi says, I use 3 Vouch C3s for Quant. Okay, I can't get the big rocks, but it's easy to get the regulars. There's a lot of people, Marichi, who mentioned the 3 Vouch C3s, and I can understand why you would go with that. I just go with the brands. You know what I mean? Those are kind of what I go for, but I love it when people come and tell me their kit and and that it's different. And there's a lot of people who come and speak to that kit like you are, for sure. Rockeye saying, oh yeah, got stuck below the surface. Skim saying, yeah, 30Ks are less frequent. Yes, they are. 30Ks if you remember 6 months ago, were fairly frequent. But I'm not saying you don't have them now, but it is very rare. And then there's 30K protection, Skim, where if you do lose connectivity and it's through, it's a 30K, they actually, when you go back and log in, if you wait for your ship to be retrieved, as long as you don't claim it, if you wait for your ship to be retrieved, you'll get your cargo back. So they have some persistence in cargo as well. I don't know if you know that. You probably do if you've been getting back into the game a little bit. But that's another just a subtle improvement that makes the game a little better. And I'm no white knight, you guys. I mean, I will certainly speak to the issues that Star Citizen has, but on the whole, I'm doing this. It's a super fun thing to do, mining in Star Citizen. It's I enjoy it, and there's enough gameplay here for me to just be. It's a game loop that I just enjoy doing. It's kind of like going fishing. You cast your line, you catch some fish, you throw them back, you have a good time. That's a little bit how I like to consider the old mining stream. Mauricio says, negative 30% instability is great because I mine while working. I can focus more on meetings. Yeah, I definitely, I work from home, Mauricio, and I definitely have been tempted a couple times to it's a good thing. Like, remember EVE Online, where you could just kind of set it and forget it, and just like the lasers would go for like 38 minutes, and then, hey, there's a cluster, guys. The lasers would go for like 38 minutes, and then you could turn around. It's not quite like that anymore. But, if it was like that, maybe the Orion will be that way. I can set it and forget it, but I have a feeling that's not going to be the case, so. Dasman says, I could break up a 6K mass rock with a surge. That's the max size I can handle. That's still by the way, there's a doubler back there, too, so we've got quite a few rocks to scan here. 6K, the ones that are between STAS 6 and 6500. Those are the ones really you're looking for, right? Now this is actually a pretty nice cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 10? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? Yeah, there's 9 there. Pretty solid. We're going to come on in here and see if we can... Rockeye says, I got the Gray Cat armor after watching your channel, a must-have. Thanks, Rockeye. It's a nice set to have that. Skim says, well, that was a good time. Have to go. I live in France. It's 2 a.m. Skim, thank you for coming aboard. You know, I will just invite you. Hey, man, like and sub. You know, you can always go back and watch the streams as a podcast and other times too. So enjoyed having you aboard. Glad you love the mining gameplay, and this is, you know, you'll always find a home here if you like Star Citizen mining. That's for sure. Have a good night, Skim. Murlork says, I use 2 times Surge and Stampede. My personal record is an 8.4K rock. That is a heck of a break. If you can double Surge and Stampede and hold out on that 8.4K, my chances are that second Surge might have gone into the overcharge a touch. That's a hell of a break, Murloc. I've never been able to do one quite that big. I have. It seems like maybe around 7,000. I don't think it was much higher than 7,000. Was maybe the best I've done on a double Surge Stampede. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me that you're able to do it, and that's awesome. That is a break to be proud of, for sure. And I like numbers like that, you know, when it comes to Star Citizen. Now I'm just going through these. A lot of 3%ers. There was like a 9%er there. We're looking around here. This is a 3,800 at 2.3%. Yeah, Dasmond is talking about the 40-40. That's a good way to, you know, it's one of those things that we mention on the channel a lot. A 40-40 is 32 SCU. 4,000 mass. This is going to be a good rock, you guys. Not a bad one. 5,500 at 30. Okay. A 40-40, that's your 32 SCU. So it's 4,000 mass at 40%. It's a good way to think about it. This is going to be a good rock, too. This is a 40 at 22%, 4,000 at 22%. JK Madness, how excited am I for the Banu Merchantman? You know, terribly excited. For just selling in general, obviously the Merchantman is, you know, as they kind of, it's gone through the box phases, it's really, really a sharp-looking ship. Look at this one, you guys. This is a 17%er. I could go look at those doublers, but I don't think so. I'm not going to get greedy. This 5,500 right here is totally doable at 30.8%. So I'm going to pull out QuantCalc, and let's go ahead and take a look at this guy right here. I've got a rock mass of 5,518, and then I've got a Quantanium percentage at 30.8. So 30.8, QuantCalc says, oops, let me go ahead and add rock. That rock right there is 33 SEO Quantanium, 33. So if we get a good break, I mean, there's a chance we'll get a uni. If it's a dirty break, we're going to be in the high 20s at least. So we're not going to complain about that. That's an excellent rock to break for a prospector, and we're real happy about that. So yeah, JK, I am really excited for the Banu Merchantman and just selling in general. And I really look forward to, if you know, like that salvage gameplay loop where you strip something, you pull the components out of it, then you tune the components on the Endeavor, fix them on the Crucible, tune them on the Endeavor, sell them on the Merchantman. You know, like over-tune them or overclock them, that kind of stuff. That's going to be so fantastic down the road. I love that. Good question, JK, for sure. It gets me happy. Barry, you deep too. Sup? Hey, how you doing, Barry? Nice to see you. Neurotic Sage says, hey, just found out about you earlier this week and gotta say thanks. You got me back into mining and I'm loving it. Keep up the great work and fly safe. Neurotic Sage, thank you so much. That's a nice thing to say, man. Mining is, you know, it's super easy going. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. If you have any questions at all or just want to go mining, let me know, man. That's awesome. Welcome back to the game, and good for you. I just love it when people come on board and say, you know, that the stream is somehow or another, you know, kind of helped them along in any way, shape, or form. But you can see here, I'm actually repositioning it a little bit to kind of put the UI into the dark part here. So now this is a 5,500 mass. We will break this rock, but it is going to take a little while. Like, it's going to take a little while to build energy into this guy, so we're definitely going to have a little bit of time to chat with each other. This rock will break. I'm going to probably get in here about, maybe 7 or so meters. It's just going to take a while to build the energy into it. So yeah, Neurotic Sage, I really appreciate that. And like and sub, man. I mean, definitely. It means a lot when you guys come and chat and, talk Star Citizen, Theorycraft Mining. It's just been a great community. I mean, honestly, I've been so kind of literally blown away and, super happy with the people that I ran across in Star Citizen. Every community has a few people here and there, but for the most part, it really does seem like a really good community of people. So, it's fantastic. JK Madness says what I'm looking forward to seeing is how the massive cargo area and the merchantman will work with the cargo refactor. Oh, I agree with that. And same with the Carrack, too, JK, while we're talking about it. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see, like, the spindle ships, right? The hulls and those types of things. But, like, the merchantmen and the Carrack that have these kind of more modular cargo sections and, that type of thing. Oh, it's going to be super cool. The cargo refactor is going to be a blast. So you can see we are building energy into this thing. It's going to take a little while, like I said, because it's way out there on the mass. But it's about, it's not quite half. It's about 40% in climbing, so we'll kind of keep on it. Mauricio says, wow, I didn't know that you can focus the laser in another direction. I play mouse and keyboard. If you tap G twice, Mauricio, you can actually, you can actually articulate the laser head a little bit. So, nice little tip to learn. And yeah, so people do mention from time to time they didn't know that you could do that. Murloc says, mining in my experience has been the least buggy profession, makes you lots of money. Murloc, I agree with that. I mean, the whole reason I started mining is because backpacks were actually persistent. That if I stuck some head in my backpack and got 30K, I'd still have some money in my backpack. That's the whole reason I got into mining, but then I ROC mined and loved it. I love ROC mining. I wish they fixed the extraction bug, but I just adore ROC mining. It just could not love it anymore. But then prospecting and mole mining is just fantastic. Rockeye says, I have 4 accounts on Eve. Stopped playing Eve years ago, mostly mined in Eve. Star Citizen is what I'm hoping this... Yeah, I played Eve when it was pretty early on too, Rockeye. And I did mine in Star Citizen, or in Eve, and enjoyed the heck out of it. But I did like the set it and forget it a little bit. Kind of kick back and drink wobbly pop and enjoy the night kind of thing. So, Rather Be Traveling says, have a great evening at 7 a.m. Time to head to work. Hey, on that side of the world, Rather Be, take care of yourself. Have a lovely day at work. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning, and bless you. Have a lovely day. Joey Goodwin, welcome to the channel. I despise the HUD on the Prospector. That's reasonable, Joey. You're not the only person who says that. It's growing on me. The Prospector is my favorite ship in Star Citizen, but it's only because it prints me money. Neurotic Sage says, oh, I just learned that you can use the right shift to lock your heading. I forgot to test if it allows full motion of the gimbals. Do you know if that works? I don't know if that works, Neurotic Sage. Honestly, it's not something that I've messed with before, using right shift to lock the heading. So we're just starting to break into here. I'll just kind of focus a little more on the rock. It takes a little while, and it will fall in and out, and I'll rather flirt with the bottom of optimal and falling out than flirting with overcharge. So, I'll just kind of keep feathering it in and out. I definitely, no reason at a 1.85 instability, absolutely no reason to burn a consumable on first break here. I'm feathering back just a touch. You can see it trying to flirt with the top of the overcharge, but I feathered back to about 40% or so, and now she's plunging down. I'm feathering back up again. It did fall out a touch, no big deal. We're not going to lose a whole lot of this. We're right back up in there. This isn't going to be a hard break. This is, it takes a little bit of focus and concentration, easy peasy. That's going to be a nice clean break. So there's a 5,500 mass rocket. You can see that actually did end up hitting my ship a little bit, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. Yeah. Rockeye says, yeah, so true, yeah. All right, so we'll kind of go through and take a look here. I like to choose one side to another. This is going to have nothing in it, so we're going to go left to right here and just kind of scan everything. just get a sense of what's in what. This is going to have nothing in it. These are good signs, right? When you see absolutely nothing in it, like on the first couple, that means that, you know, it's going to be higher concentrations. So this is a 901. That's at 28%. Not a great... this, you can see, is outlining the vast majority of what's underneath. There's nothing there. That's kind of cool that the most impacted rock doesn't have a line in it. So these last three that I have to scan are going to be pretty dense with Quantanium in it. This one, not so much. There's a 100%er, though, at 829. So that's 16 SCU right there. And then what is this guy? This is going to be okay, too. I noticed that the viewers stopped typing so you can focus on the break. Yeah, I appreciate they do that. You know, I definitely can get a little distracted. So, all right, so we've got a couple of hundos here to break, which is awesome. And so we'll break this. We'll break this 29 first. And we'll go ahead and just kind of check the instability before we crank up. It's definitely under a 1.75. We can absolutely break this first one without using a brand. Now, there's nothing wrong with using one. Use them, abuse them. But you know, because it's under a 1.75 instability, generally speaking, it's not going to be terrible to manage if you just kind of keep your eye on it. And we'll do that. All right. Swing down to about 9% there, 12%. Awesome. You can see it's trying to bomb out, but we're not letting it. I feathered up the 15, back to 12. 17, back to 12. Just kind of, reacting to what it's doing a little bit. Easy break. Good break, clean break. You know, not going to complain there. Now, this break is going to be a little different. This is two 100%ers. They're both going to be at 2.5. I'm absolutely going to use a brand on these. And I'm going to try and break them both with the same brand. Now, that's not always something easy to do, but I know where the other one is right away. So if I fire the brand in a good, at a good moment, just as we're getting in there, just like I did. Yeah. Kind of stopping at about 9% there. Bouncing to 12. Just kind of feathering up to 14 because it looked like it wanted to try and fall out, then back to 9. Notice I'm flirting with the bottom of the optimal window, not with the overcharge. A lot of people get it up around the overcharge, and you don't necessarily have to. I'd rather it fall out than deal with it, you know, than have it overcharge for sure. So as soon as this guy breaks, like I said, a little mini game with myself, I'm right on this other rock. I'm actually going to crank it up pretty hot, pretty fast, because I'm trying to get into the green definitely before it gets down to 30 seconds or so. So we're not doing bad. Okay, yeah, we just got into the green. Oops, I fell out of there a touch. Let me look over, see if I can see it. I can't really. Can't tell what the timer is. But we're hoping to get the second piece as well. Broke. Oh, I let her fall out just a touch as I was looking away. But trying to get the second piece broke as well with the same brand. Now I'll get to the chat here in just a sec. I definitely got a couple of hundos here that I'm breaking up. Same brand, one rock. It fell out at the end. I'm just kind of watching it, see how it dove really good there. I'm feathering up. Don't want it to fall out too much, but I don't want it to overdo it either. And clean break. There we go. So catching up on the chat here, I noticed that the viewers stopped typing, so you can focus. Yeah, I can't see my radar unless I press F. So I assume you need to keep an eye out for red blips. You know, I will tell you, if a red blip gets in on you too quickly in a prospector, you're pretty much you know, you're going to have to straight line and get away. You know, it's one of those things, and you may not make it. I don't, you know, the minute I start feeling pressure, I make so much money. If I start feeling pressure, I'll just go to the air and halo. Morvip is, don't forget to check the pair to your right. Perhaps there's better percentages. Yeah, I'll have to, let me look at that real quick. But I think here, that's going to be a hundo, even though it's not scanning. Let's see here. 4 is on his way. That's awesome. 4 is one of the guys who joins me on the mining stream a bunch, and he is getting a new computer, and I am so excited that he's getting a new computer. It's going to be great. He usually is with me on these streams. I've missed him not having them. I've kept my foot on the gas, kind of doing the streams, but the streams are always better when 4 is around, and most everybody agrees with that. So, especially me. Murlorg says, I wish they added how many uses I popped. Some kind of a usage counter. I couldn't agree more, Murlorg. On the, on the consumables would be nice. Archer, how you doing, Arch? Archer's here too. Archer 4 is, gonna have his computer around pretty soon. So, yeah, he's got it. That's awesome. That is fantastic. All right, so we're over 20 SCU here, right? And I still think we're into this hundo, but we're going to kind of slow down now and start being a little more discerning with our scans. We don't want to blow away our opportunity at a uni if we don't have to. Now, I got lucky there. I didn't wait for the scan. I should have. There's 25 SCU. Let's go ahead and just keep our head down. This was a nice break. It broke clean, obviously. Here's another 100%er. Archer, it sounds like 4 does have this computer. Isn't that awesome? All right, so we're still looking around here. There's a couple more over this way. Let's just... we're at 27.75. We definitely don't want to mess up our... we just got to be a little patient here. That's a 45%er. Trying to find another hundo if we can. That's a 55%er. This last ride might have not broke. Has 100% inert. It might not have broke clean enough to get us above pay grade there. Well, you know what? That's nothing to sneeze at, though. So what do we have here? One more time. We knew that we weren't going to get the actual uni. That's okay. We just didn't get a clean break here. So 45, a clean break here. So 45, what was this guy again? A 58, and then what was this guy again? We're going to do just fine on the... And this guy was 100% inert. So we're going to take this one first. The good news is we have the FLTRXL. That's going to help a little bit here. We're breaking 29 SCU. And looks like we just broke 30 with about a half of a... Yep, there we are. 30.39 SCU. Very nice load. Not a uni, but nothing to sneeze at there. An excellent load of Quantanium. We're going to go ahead and head on out. Get the sticks. Grab the sticks, and off we go. Oh, boy. We're going to be over here. There we are. Pivot and go. I'm spooling up the quantum, and off we go. Good stuff. Quantum travel engaged. Archer's, making the most lowest hanging fruit Canadian joke he possibly can with the boot. Joey says, I would love the ability to swap modules while in the field. Hey, Joey, one of the things that I had read about which surprised me, was with the Orion, the great big ship, is maybe those drones are going to help swap out some of that stuff. I would agree. It would be kind of cool if you could land the ship, swap the heads, maybe change out the stuff, bring some spares. I love that idea, Joey. I think that would be cool. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Coffee is delicious. All right, we're going to go ahead and come out of first quantum. We'll go into second quantum and put this guy down on a pad and go in and take this 30 SCU. So 50 SCU so far on the stream. Not too shabby. Hey, I've noticed the workers at ArcL1 refinery take 4 SCUs when using fare en route. Murlork, there is a tax. You're right about that. They tax it. That's why CRUL1 with that plus 3% Quantanium offset for that actually can almost take in all the taxes. or what we refer to as taxes, but really it's just refining waste, I think, is the idea, or maybe just a way that they're taking some more off the top. And Morvip is saying being able to use a tractor beam to kind of tractor beam some of the larger kind of components on and off ships would be fantastic. That is a super cool idea. I love that idea. Even like the hand tractor beam for like doing like replacing stuff. Even if you have like the size 3 shields or the capital class shields, like on a, it's like how the heck would you carry those things? Even the personal one, to be able to swap those things out, like when you're under attack or whatever, would be cool. Mauricio says, I would like to install by hand any component on the ship. Oh yeah, that would be cool. Be able to, whatever, install it by hand. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. So in we go. We're cruising around 400 or so. I'll pull my hands off the stick in just a sec. And then go ahead and reach up and try and call for a landing pad. And we'll, somebody is on one of the pads up there now, no big deal. And I will call the tower, drop the gear, and we'll give it a sec. Yep. We got a landing bay. Looks like it's going to be one of those, that same one that was kind of over here around the corner. So we'll groove over there and get it. We have not heard first alarm yet. Andrea says, I always prefer to be able to vaporize or push unwanted rocks. My memory is so bad I have to rescan my breaks. Yeah, I have to rescan a lot too. And, I have to do that same thing, Andreas. I don't always remember all my scans. I try to go left to right or top to bottom or just grab some kind of a, and there are times when I do better than others at that. I mean, there are times when I'm actually, wow, I remembered where all those were at. But there are times when I don't as well. And so the ability to have like a 315P, I mean, Archer on the channel here, Archer likes to take the front end of his ship and push the trash off the top of the piles. Believe it or not, and he's actually quite handy at it. But I definitely am looking forward to like the 315P, like the tractor beam on it. So we're, we did our post flight here. You can hear the hydrogen coming on board, the quantum fuel coming on board. We're getting out of our seat. We still haven't even heard first alarm. So it's a good day. I'll teach you guys a little trick here. Somebody told me about the other day. You actually can just go running off this thing. Yeah. Oh, I missed it. There's an opportunity if you just run really quickly, you can actually go flying off that thing and not actually do the ladder animation. Andrea says, I do that in the Halo. That's cool. Vaporize or push unwanted rocks in the Halo. Yeah, that makes sense. Murlark says, you would expect that in your 2952 there should be something that saves the scan date on the Prospector, but no. Yeah, maybe some computer memory or something like that. That would be awesome. It did used to save that information, and I'm sure it will again. It's just it is kind of a weird thing ever since they changed that. Mauricio says, LOL, Andreas, me too. You have a lot of time. You can even do a second break and arrive at the first bit. Yeah, it's true. So, alrighty. That is an awesome 2 rocks. Real nice. We'll get this guy stored. Okay. We'll get this, turn around and have this guy, take this guy down to the refinery. And I will... Oh, hey. Hey, citizen. Somebody was in that elevator. We'll grab this one here and start heading down. Yeah, so elevator time. Here's another thing that I'd like to mention while I have you guys here. Best org in the verse. Description's right in the link. SpectreFleet.space. You don't have to mine if you want to do something like FPS. We have awesome Marines, awesome medical teams, fantastic training for space combat stuff, air combat. that type of thing. So yeah, if you're interested in a great organization, SpectreFleet.space is always looking for people. Yeah, Andreas, Mauricio says, oh no, Andrea says, or maybe just mark rocks that need to be scooped, even if you had to mark them by hand, like with a painted cross or so. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Obviously taking the 315P and the tractor beam and then building piles of rocks, here's my 100%ers, here's the things that are 50 to 100%, and then here's my trash pile, my inert pile or whatever. Even that kind of thing would be fantastic. Barry Uday says, where's a good spot to sell all your parts? Oh, sell all your parts for your ship for mining. A good spot to get all your parts. So, Barry, Arcal 1 is a good place where I'm at here right now, and I'll show you right before. So let me go ahead and get this job. This is not a bad place. Bernie Kindler, why store it? Just hovering over the pad and letting it impound, it's faster. You know what, Bernie, that is an excellent point, and I always do that in the mole. I absolutely always do that in the mole and let them just store it and pay, and I'm happy to do it. I don't know, for whatever reason, it's more of a role-play-ish type thing. I actually don't mind landing and storing so much with the prospector. Obviously, if I have 60, 70 SCU Quantanium on board the mole, I always just call for a pad, land on the wrong pad, pay the fine. It's a good point, Bernie. By the way, not a name I recognize in the stream, so welcome aboard. Nice to see you, Bernie. And an excellent point you're making. No reason you can always land on the wrong pad, and then they will just bring the ship in. It's a fairly seamless process. It's a small fine compared to how much money you're making with Quantanium. To speak to Barry, Arcal 1, where I'm at, just to give you an idea. It's got, here if I look at the laser mining heads, it's got your Lancet MH1, and it's got a Brant, and it's got the FLTRXL. And these are the things that I Quantanium mine with every day. Hey, how you doing? So, Murlork is saying for immersion, that's one of the reasons why I kind of land in the store. It is, I'll fall on my sword and say immersion. You know what I mean? But yeah, just speaking to what you're saying, Barry, I like this particular place. So Arcal 1, because it's proximity to Lyria, and it's not, you can actually go from Arcal 1 to HURL 5, drop out at about 7.7, and you can go to the Air and Halo as well from here. So it's not a difficult, this is a good spot, you know what I mean, for sure. So Ford, you got that computer? I hear. All right, so here's that moment in time, when I like to do this thing. And, I just wanted to say, obviously fabulous couple of trips. We made a 50 SCU in not a terribly long amount of time. And so this was a really good stream. Obviously, it's nice to see Ford sneak on here. I will say I'm looking forward to getting Ford back on the stream a little more. I know that he's gets the computer settled in and some other things, and we'll be on our way. So, last call. SpectreFleet.space link is in the description. QuantCalc link is in the description. If you guys have any questions, thank you so much for participating, being a part of the mining stream, being a part of the community. So many of you have come to me and taught me things about mining, made my mining experience better because you share your information. And I'm just super thankful for all that stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to wish all of you a great night. Have a lovely, absolutely fabulous evening. We'll be streaming a couple more times this week, I hope, and a whole bunch more in the future, and maybe a regular schedule at some point in the near future. So take care, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you all around the verse.